Welcome back. We continue with our developing story out of Lebanon. Officials are saying that the blast heard near a port in the capital Beirut earlier was an accident, as is in no way terror-related. Several people have been injured. There are reports that scores have been injured, even some reports just moments ago that hundreds of people may have been hurt. Now you can see on your screen massive plumes of smoke could be seen rising above the capital near the port on Tuesday late afternoon local time. These are live images on your screen right now out of Beirut. A large explosion was heard earlier. The damage looks severe, and investigations, of course, are underway in the Lebanese capital. For more on the story, our senior correspondent Owen Alterman joins us again from Petah Tikva. So Owen, the latest developments out of Lebanon obviously shaking the Middle East right now, but it is important to reiterate that officials are saying this is in no way terror related. This was an accident. What is the latest that can be confirmed right now?
Listen, Benita, we're obviously all trying to understand what the facts are. There's obviously a lot of tension surrounding Lebanon, as there always is, maybe even a bit more right now than usual. And so everyone's curious about what this event is and what happened. As you mentioned, reports of large numbers of casualties, and we obviously hope for all the best for all the people who are wounded. And sadly, if anyone has even been killed, and we hope that everyone gets the medical treatment they need. We're still trying to understand better what happened. The Lebanese authorities have come out and said that this was a fire at a fireworks factory that went awry. But you look at the video, it's obviously a huge blast. So obviously raises questions. I do think if any viewers are thinking it's reasonable to rule out more or less that Israel would be responsible for something like this, the scale of the kinds of casualties that were caused, it seems to me, and again, we have to say everything with great caution as we just don't know many facts, it's just very, very unlikely that the Israeli military or security services would do anything like this that would affect so many innocent people. So again, I think we can cautiously rule that out. But again, what else happened, we don't know. Obviously, again, the authorities on the scene there saying that this was an accident.
So let's take a look at a more in-depth development, what's been happening politically within Lebanon in recent weeks. It hasn't been the most stable of times. Bring us up to speed on those developments, Owen.
Well, never is stable in Lebanon, Benita, so it's par for the course in that sense. But look, the main backdrop in Lebanon is the economic crisis, which is very, very severe, hitting that country's middle class. Again, Lebanon has a storied middle class. Go back 40 or 50 years, this was the banking hub of the Middle East. Again, those days are long since gone, but the educated middle class has remained, some of the banks too. And so again, the fact that this economic crisis is hitting the country, driving many, many people into poverty, again, against the backdrop, of course, of the pandemic that is hitting economies all over the world. Also, Lebanon having absorbed many, many Syrian refugees, I believe about 1 million refugees from Syria, having crossed that border since the beginning of the war. And again, Benita, don't forget, Lebanon is not a very big country. So an influx like that could really put a strain on its economy and on its ever-sensitive politics. Again, Lebanon, a country that recognizes 17 or 18 religious sects, and they have to share power among them. Obviously, not all in equal measure. Some are much larger than others, but a system that goes back decades for trying to allocate power between Christians, between Sunnis, between Shiites, even among different Christian groups. And so, again, it's very, very hard to manage this country in the best of times. And the economic crisis means that it's not necessarily the best of times either.
Owen Alterman, stay with us in Petah Tikva. We've got more to unpack. If you're just joining us now, it's a developing story out of Lebanon. Officials are confirming that the blast heard near a port in the capital Beirut earlier was an accident and is in no way terror-related. Several people have been injured, but there are reports that, in fact, scores and perhaps even close to hundreds of people may have been hurt. These are not confirmed at this hour. Massive plumes of smoke can be seen rising above the capital near the port. This all unfolding on Tuesday late afternoon local time. A large explosion was heard and the damage looks severe if we take a look at the footage we can see on our screens. For more developments on the story, our correspondent Yotam Confino joins me now in studio. This, of course, happening, Yotam, in just the last hour. Talk us through the latest information. What can we confirm as we look at these dramatic images on our screen right now?
Well, dramatic images indeed, and what we have right now is really the Lebanese media to rely on to see what they're reporting, and like you said, the Hezbollah sponsored media such as Al Akbar and Al Mayadeen, they're both reporting it is not a terrorist attack, that it seems to be an explosion at a fireworks factory next to an oil tank. This is why we're seeing such dramatic footage right now, and with possibly hundreds of injured here. And it also comes at a very, very bad time in Lebanon in general. The situation is terrible. Financially, people are on the streets. They're still very, very unhappy with the government. The situation in Lebanon is so tense, and as we also know, not too long ago, there was this border incident with Israel. So really on all levels, Lebanon is struggling. Now they have this mass accident happening in the capital of Beirut.
The images on your screen right now are the aftermath after what happened this afternoon, a local time in Beirut. It is so dramatic. It really looks like a scene out of a horror movie. We can see empty, barren land, and really quite a devastating scene. As we keep on saying, we cannot confirm at this point how many people have in fact been hurt, but one can only imagine the emergency teams that are now there on the scene trying to help the scores of people that are injured right now.
Exactly, and it does really look like a mushroom cloud almost. It really looks like a bomb went off. Obviously, it's not according to the media, but it really looks extremely dramatic, and if anyone has been near this explosion, obviously you will see casualties, you will see many, many injured, and really dramatic. And all we can do right now is rely on the reports coming from the Lebanese media. Those are the ones giving us the information, whether it be the ones who are supported by Hezbollah or the government. It doesn't really matter. Those are the ones that we rely on right now for the latest.
And of course, there are conflicting reports coming out of Lebanon as we speak on exactly what has transpired, and we will be verifying those claims as we hear them right now. The latest development we're hearing is that Hezbollah may in fact have been involved. Of course, we need to reiterate, we have been saying, officials saying this is in no way terror related. Yotam, you and I have discussed in recent days this unusual dynamic and relationship between the Lebanese government and Hezbollah. Let's break it down again, because it would be quite confusing for people watching to understand why this could even be possible.
I think it's confusing for everyone, even in Lebanon. You have so many factions, you have so many really different wings and voices that all make up this parliament, and Hezbollah is really growing stronger and stronger. It is considered a terrorist organization by the United States, by EU, by Israel, but they have a tremendous amount of power. They're allies with several people inside the parliament, but it's a very, very weird constellation, because there's so much political turmoil, and that's why we see for years that they haven't really been able to pass any legislation that is important. Right now you have people starving, and you have a COVID-19 outbreak that is continuing to really destroy the country, so to say. And now with this explosion, you're just adding another level of just tremendous difficulty for Lebanon, really.
And a difficult one, I imagine, to answer. But Yotam, to what motive, what would Hezbollah, if that were the case, actually benefit from causing damage like this in the capital?
Look, it sounds a bit like a conspiracy, if that's the case. It sounds like a very, very odd thing to go ahead and to cause this mass explosion that will likely kill maybe hundreds of civilians. To do that would be, I don't even know how to describe that. That would be beyond despicable, of course. But obviously we have to wait and see what reports are coming out. But to be behind an explosion like this, even if it's an inside thing but done by Hezbollah, that seems very odd. But again, we never really know. We have to just wait and hear what they're saying in Lebanon.